Good evening, everyone. I think more students are going to join, so we can wait for 1-2 more minutes and see if more people are joining, and then I will start with you my course, the my part of the syllabus. That is English Studies in India. I'll be teaching MEG-10 English Studies in India. So, this field is very broad area, but within these 7-8 classes, I will try to, be very precise with you and try to explain to you whatever is very much needed to understand and very much applicable for your examinations point of view. I will be teaching that, and if you are not able to understand anything, please ask me during the class. Let us wait for 1 or 2 more minutes and then I'll resume my class. Okay, so I think few of you have already joined. Um, so I'll resume with what I was telling you. Now, students, so as I told you that I will be covering with you Indian studies, English studies in India. We will see how English, not only as a medium of communication, but also as a medium of literature, as a medium of understanding our culture, came into existence. How we Indians accepted English uh, after independence, or maybe during the time of independence also, and how our literature got influenced by English literature. Students, initially when we Indians started writing in English, we had a kind of mimicry of British literature. We tried to adapt certain styles, certain linguistic aspects, okay, and certain certain storytelling habits also. We mimicked. We tried to imitate from British English. Okay, but gradually, as we moved from colonial period to post-colonial period, our own style, our own form, our own English, English, what we call English writing culture developed in India. And that happened mainly after independence. Okay, and it was at that time we got ourselves detached from the typical British writing style. We developed our own style of writing. We developed what you can say our own umbrella of Indian writing in English. Okay, and that was the time when Indian writers, they started earning a lot of money as well. I'm going little bit capitalistic here, but this is the fact. In the post-colonial period, dear students, you will see like writers like Amitabh Ghosh, Salman Rushdie, Anita Desai. They developed a pattern of writing of their own, and in their writing they reflected whatever was typical Indian. Now, as students of PG, you must read all some of these writers: Amitabh Ghosh, Salman Rushdie, Chitra Banerjee. Then you will understand that though they wrote in English, but the whole culture, the whole cultural impact was typically Indian. So that is what we call Indian writing in English. When we Indians wrote in English, but that was typical Indian English, and that was how we decolonized. Decolonized means we dispersed the idea of colonial power of English writing, and we showed to the British writers, to the Western world, that we have adapted, though we have adapted their language, but it is our own English that now we have started in our country. And by showing this worldwide, writers like Amitabh Ghosh, as I was telling you, Chitra Banerjee, Salman Rushdie, their books started to get sold like hotcakes, not only in eastern continents but in the west as well. Okay, so that comes quite later, or you can say that comes during our time. The Rushdie and Amitabh Ghosh are our contemporary writers. But to understand how this Indianization of English took form, you must know the age old system that initiated in India, and how it developed and how it took its form. Okay, so in order to come to this phase, that which we'll be doing after 5 or 6 days, we'll be doing this, um, the thing that I explained to you now. To explain this, I will start. I go little back, not little back, quite back, that too mainly from the colonial times. So, as we all know, that English came to India during colonial times only. All right, during colonial times, British people brought English to India, and we Indians witnessed a completely new language. Okay, at that time, we did not have any communication properly developed communication system. We did not have any means to know any other person's, other country's language. Okay, although we traveled very less during those days, I'm talking about the British time, that is, take for example 18th and 19th century. Okay, so during those days, where our communication system was not that developed, when British came, we saw that this is a completely new language coming to our country. All the Indians witnessed something new happening to India, apart from the cultural changes that they brought, apart from the domination that they brought, apart from the violence that they brought. Another the good thing that we saw is some new kind of language coming to India. And gradually that English language brought a little, a little balance to our country, because we people are multilingual. We have different languages. Odisha re ame Odia kochu, South re Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, North re dekho to Gujarati. So kette languages ache. Okay, and you know that we were completely in a chaos in order to decide a proper official language. हमको problem होतिला कि कोटा official language होगा. Okay, so when English came, first of all ଆମ life ରେ English ର ଗୋଟେ influence ବହୁତ ଆସିଲା, because the way British presented their language, their culture, ସେ କଣ pretend କରିଥିଲେ that they are very sophisticated. And they are the only civilized people. ସେମାନେ ହିଁ ବାବୁ ଅଛନ୍ତି, ସେମାନେ ହିଁ ସାହେବ ଅଛନ୍ତି. Okay, we are all servants. This is how they try to show us. We Indians ଆମ countryରେ ଆସିକି ଆମକୁ slave ଭଳିଆ treat କଲେ. Okay, ତ ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ slave ଥିଲୁ, means we felt ourselves minor, we felt ourselves inferior. So when we looked up to those British, ଆମକୁ ଲାଗିଲା ସେମାନେ sophisticated. Okay, ସେମାନଙ୍କ language sophisticated. So we developed this kind of misconception. It is misconception actually. No language is superior over others. ସବୁ ତ ଏକା ନା. ତ but ଆମେ କଣ ଦେଖିଲୁ, we felt that English language is above us. Okay, ତ ଗୋଟେ craze ଆସିଲା, ଆଉ ସେ ଯୋଉ
Excuse me,
craze.
ma'am.
Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, there are all other students are non-Odias. They may not be able to understand.
Really, are they
So,
from out of
yeah,
Odisha?
yes,
Ma'am,
yes,
I'm
yes,
from
yes,
Delhi. I'm from
Oh,
yes.
Delhi and I'm not
Different,
able to
different. Yes.
understand.
Ma'am,
so
I am also from Delhi, so I am also not able to understand.
okay, fine, fine. I think I did not go that much into Odia, but a little bit I was talking here and there in order to, connect with our students. We sometimes use our own regional languages. Anyway, so हिंदी में तो ठीक है ना आप लोग बच्चों?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
you can
Yes,
use
हाँ,
it.
yes, yes.
okay then थोड़ा सा आपके साथ कनेक्ट करने के लिए मेरे को थोड़ा सा लैंग्वेज प्ले करना होगा. So that you find the class interesting, intriguing, and you develop a kind of understanding. Anyway, so so what we had that feeling of superiority towards English
Your
language.
microphone is on.
Okay. Sorry.
Just a minute, ma'am.
Yeah. Tell me.
This is Dr. Panigre from IGNOU Bhubaneswar.
Oh, good evening, sir.
So, is it, ma'am, your first class?
Sorry, sir.
Is it your first class or you are taken class from 8th?
No, sir. I've been taking classes probably from couple of
No,
years.
no, no, no. I am telling for this paper. I think your classes start
Yeah,
from
yeah,
8th,
yeah, 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 yeah. Actually, days back I got the
but
schedule
you
and
are
I
not
know.
taken the class in 8th and 9th, right?
No, no, no. I'll be taking that and I'll be informing
Today,
them that.
today the first class, na?
Yes, sir.
Dear learners, don't worry. So you will reorganize your another two class subsequent days. So ma'am, you talk to Tapan, okay? So according to your convenience. So if you
Fine.
possible Saturday and Sunday, then you can make it these two
Uh,
class on Saturday and Sunday. Is all right?
yes, I have already spoken
So
to
click
him
that
and
visible
I'll take this class Saturday, Sunday. Tomorrow we don't have a class.
No, no. I mean, you are also you don't want to take class tomorrow, na? So you'll make
I
it on
didn't
Saturday and
want
Sunday.
to. I didn't want to, but when I checked the schedule, they don't have the class tomorrow in your schedule. So
I mean,
yeah.
you will
So
make it
the
on
two.
Saturday and Sunday. And
Yes.
I mean, all over India students are there, ma'am. So because of their
Sure, sure,
requirement, you have to take it in that way.
sure, sir. Sure,
Okay.
I will. And really, I really forgot about
Tomorrow,
that.
I mean, what time it is all right for? I mean, daytime. I mean, around 4 to 6 is all right. You can make it on Saturday and Sunday.
4 to 6 will be all right. But sir, you can ask your students. I don't know
notice.
what will be convenient for them.
No, students. I mean, there is no. I will just discuss with Tapan. So according to that, you will just mail on Friday. Okay.
Okay,
Continue,
right.
ma'am. You
Okay,
continue,
sir.
ma'am.
Visible. Use
Okay,
Windows
all
Visual
right.
Okay.
Focus.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, sir. Is somebody saying something? I was hearing some noise. Is anyone saying something? Okay. Let us go back.
Ma'am, the
So,
link will be the same or the different link?
Yeah, link will be the same. And but you people tell me which time will be convenient. 4 to 6 is all right for you all.
Your all the classes link will send. There is no link
Yes,
will
ma'am.
not change. Okay. So just you will I will confirm you the timing. Friday I will send a mail to you. Which time, which day we are going to conduct these two classes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I think sir has clarified things for you. So about all the schedule and all, you will get information from the office. Okay. Now, students, let me go ahead with this because they are broad things to explain, and you see that English in India. When you read that, this is my specialization, and I love teaching this part to my students every time. बट दिस इज नॉट दैट इजी व्हेन वी से दैट हाँ ये तो इंडियन इंग्लिश है ना प्रॉब्लम क्या है हम अपना कल्चर तो अच्छे से समझते हैं सो इट विल बी वेरी इजी फॉर अस देन टू रीड ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर और अमेरिकन लिटरेचर और ऑस्ट्रेलियन जो भी है उससे हमको इंडियन लिटरेचर पढ़ने में आसानी होगा यू इफ यू थिंक लाइक दैट देन यू आर रॉन्ग बिकॉज इंग्लिश लिटरेचर इज मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स देन एनी अदर लिटरेचर रियली uh, despite the fact that we understand our culture और culture का representation बहुत अच्छे से होता है literature में we all know this as MA students लेकिन Indian culture is very broad, it's very vast, and when a foreign language and alien language came into India, how complications started. कोई लोग इंग्लिश को एक्सेप्ट किए तो कोई रिजेक्ट किए कोई लोग जैसे कि महात्मा गांधी हैं और मुल्कराज आनंद के जैसे जो राइटर हैं वो क्या किए फर्स्ट दे थॉट दैट ओके चलो इंग्लिश में लेट अस ट्राई आवर हैंड जो राजमोहन वाइफ जो नॉवेल है उसमें भी तुम देखोगे कि फर्स्ट दीज ऑथर्स दे एक्सेप्टेड इंग्लिश बाद में क्या हुआ व्हेन द रिवोल्ट स्टार्टेड व्हेन people started revolting against British rule. So writers like this, even Tagore bhi, they rejected English language. Tagore ने गीतांजलि बांग्ला में लिखा, इंग्लिश में नहीं लिखा. ओके गीतांजलि जो लंबा सा पोएम है उन्होंने बंगाली में लिखा. Okay, the first thing is that he felt more attached to his own language, native language. लेकिन sometimes we consider these writers not writing in English and going to their regional languages is a part of their revolt against British Empire. ठीक है वो रिवोल्ट का वो स्ट्रगल का एक एक टाइप का मेथड था. ओके जैसे कि सम पीपल वेर एक्सट्रीमिस्ट एक बहुत मार धाड़ करके दे वांटेड टू ब्रिंग फ्रीडम टू इंडिया. कुछ थे जो मॉडरेट थे महात्मा गांधी के जैसे जो जो बिलीव करते थे दैट नो यू शुड गेट इंडिपेंडेंस बट थ्रू नॉन वायलेंस. तो वैसे ही हमारे लिटरेचर के जो लिटरेरी फिगर्स थे वो थ्रू लिटरेचर रिवोल्ट करते थे. वो तो रिवोल्ट लिटरेचर लिखते ही थे खुशवंत सिंह जैसे राइटर. लेकिन उनके लैंग्वेज के रिजेक्शन से दे आल्सो शोड दैट they are not accepting English because they do not like British. It doesn't mean that they do not like English language. नहीं हमारा कोई गुस्सा इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज से नहीं है हमारा गुस्सा ब्रिटिश से है. सो एज अ पार्ट ऑफ रिवोल्ट मेनी राइटर्स दे स्टॉप राइटिंग इन इंग्लिश डिस्पाइट द फैक्ट दैट दे वर वेरी वेल वर्स्ड इन इंग्लिश. लेकिन दे रिजेक्टेड इट दे एक्सेप्टेड देयर ओन रीजनल लैंग्वेज एज अ मार्क ऑफ देयर रिवोल्ट अगेंस्ट ब्रिटिश एम्पायर. तो ये तो बहुत सारा हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड है एंड दिस ऑल यू हैव टू नो व्हेन यू आर डीलिंग विथ इंडियन राइटिंग इन इंग्लिश because you have to know how this language came, how it spawned मतलब कैसे एक फॉर्म लिया शेप लिया और इंडिया में डेवलप किया एंड देन एक फेज आया जब डोमिनेट किया ब्रिटिश लैंग्वेज उनका लैंग्वेज ब्रिटिश लैंग्वेज दैट इज इंग्लिश. ओके so these all things, these all phases you must know before you are going into into the literary work of Indian writing in English. ठीक है तो यहाँ पर देखोगे कि जो इंडियन राइटिंग इंग्लिश राइटिंग जब आया इंडिया में तो इट टुक मोर देन 2 centuries. ओके 2 century को पूरा लग गया इंग्लिश को फॉर्म होने में शेप होने में. और यू कैन से दैट होल ऑफ इंडिया बिकेम अ जोग्राफिकल स्पेस. स्पेस क्या रहा लैंग्वेज इंग्लिश रहा टाइम 2 century चला गया. ओके एंड स्पेस था पूरा इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंट. छवि जैन, could you please mute your phone so that it will be easy. थोड़ा सा डिस्टरबेंस हो रहा है. छवि, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Kindly mute yourself. Okay. तो you can see that 2 century लगा और Indian subcontinent became the whole space where this language gradually spread. Disturbance आया, ups and downs आया. छवि, please silent yourself. Yeah, that's okay. All right. So you can see that this is a European language. English तो एक European language है. इंडिया में एक डिफरेंट कल्चर है. जस्ट थिंक, हमारा कंट्री एक डिफरेंट कल्चर था, तो एक डिफरेंट लैंग्वेज इंडिया में आया. हाँ, और ओवर द टाइम वो एब्जॉर्ब हुआ हमारे कंट्री में. क्योंकि देखो, वी आर कंप्लीटली ऑपोजिट टू वेस्टर्न कल्चर. बट जस्ट थिंक अबाउट द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज इन द होल वर्ल्ड. ठीक है, जहाँ सब जगह एब्जॉर्व होने लगा, तो आस्ते आस्ते इंडिया ऑल्सो accepted and absorbed that language. So you can, ask certain question that what is the method that came, what was the method that was involved during the whole process of absorption of English language. Okay. और क्योंकि हमारा जो कंट्री है इंडिजिनस कल्चर है, मतलब ट्राइबल कल्चर है. हमारा कितना सारा कास्ट सिस्टम है, क्लास सिस्टम है. ठीक है, तो ये जो होल प्रोसेस था ना इंग्लिश का एब्जॉर्ब होने में इंडिया में, इसका होल प्रोसेस क्या रहा, that you must know in broad detail so that you can understand properly what is literature. अभी हम लोग लिटरेचर में नहीं जा रहे हैं. अभी वी आर जस्ट सीइंग इंग्लिश स्टडीज इन इंडिया. इंग्लिश स्टडीज कैसे स्टार्ट हुआ, इनिशिएट हुआ, एंड हाउ इट डेवलप एंड हाउ इट बिकेम वन ऑफ द मोस्ट एमिनेंट लैंग्वेजेस इन इंडिया. और ये ब्रिटिश लैंग्वेज नहीं है. वी कैन से दैट दिस इज इंडियन इंग्लिश. वी डो नॉट से दैट दिस इज ब्रिटिश इंग्लिश. वी से दिस इज इंडियन इंग्लिश बिकॉज इट गॉट मिक्सड अप विद आवर कल्चर. जब कल्चर में मिक्सअप हुआ तो एक इंग्लिश का नया फॉर्म बना. कैसे बना, दैट विल बी डूइंग इन आवर इवेंचुअल क्लासेस. यू विल सी दैट. ओके, एंड इट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. जस्ट सिट बैक एंड ट्राई टू लिसन व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. यू विल अंडरस्टैंड. अच्छा, जब 20th सेंचुरी आया, जस्ट गो बैक टू 20th सेंचुरी, मतलब 1900s में, 1900s में सोचो, जब रिवोल्ट हाई पीक में था. तो इंडिया ने क्या देखा, इंडिया ने देखा कि एक पूरा डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ रेजिस्टेंस आ रहा है इंडिया में. रेजिस्टेंस मतलब रिवोल्ट आ रहा है इंडिया में बाय इंडियंस. और किसके लिए रेजिस्टेंस आ रहा है, फॉर द ब्रिटिश रूल. ओके, और तुम जो 20th सेंचुरी में जो टाइम का रिवोल्ट आ रहा है, इट इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम व्हाट हैड हैपेंड इन 19th सेंचुरी. 19th सेंचुरी का जो इंडियन रिवोल्ट का जो पैटर्न था, दैट वाज कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट in 20th century. All right, are you getting it? Now, जो 19th सेंचुरी में जो रिवोल्ट था ना, वो बहुत ज़्यादा पॉलिटिकल था. हाँ, और क्योंकि इंडियन बहुत ज़्यादा नॉन वायलेंट थे, इंडियन बहुत ज़्यादा एनलाइटन थे, तो इंडियन टू वे टेकिंग थिंग्स वेरी रैशनली. हाँ, इंडियन बहुत ज़्यादा थियोरिटिकल हो गए थे. वो लोग कॉन्सेप्ट ले रहे थे फ्रीडम का, वो लोग इक्वालिटी का कॉन्सेप्ट को स्क्रूटिनाइज कर रहे थे. इंडियन लोग अपना डिग्निटी को इम्पोर्टेंट कर रहे थे, जो वो टाइम के पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स थे. सी, इफ यू हैव नॉट अंडरस्टूड, आई एम ट्राइंग, आई विल एक्सप्लेन वंस अगेन, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. जो डिफरेंस आया 20th सेंचुरी में, उसको जानने के लिए यू मस्ट नो व्हाट हैपेंड इन 19th सेंचुरी. 19th सेंचुरी के जो पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स थे, उनके लिए इंडियन द स्ट्रगल फॉर फ्रीडम वाज डिफरेंट. दे टुक इट इंटेलेक्चुअली, क्योंकि इंडियन पीपल फ्रॉम द कोर दे आर नॉन वायलेंट पीपल. ठीक है, इंडियन जो एंशियंट पीपल है, जो टिपिकल इंडियन है, कॉमन लोग हैं, दे आर कम्प्लीटली नॉन वायलेंट पीपल. लेकिन वो तो ब्रिटिश लोग का वायलेंस देख रहे थे, बट स्टिल दे वर टेकिंग थिंग्स वेरी इंटेलेक्चुअली, वेरी रैशनली. क्योंकि इंडियन लीडर्स ऑल्सो एट दैट टाइम दे वर वेरी एनलाइटेंड पीपल. ठीक है, तो वो बहुत सॉफ्टली ले रहे थे 19th सेंचुरी में इंडियन फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल को. ओके, लेकिन 19th सेंचुरी इम्पोर्टेंट था इंडियन फ्रीडम के लिए, क्योंकि ऑल द पीपल वे गेटिंग अवेयर कि एक फॉरेन रूल आया। देखो हम लोग तो बार बार इन्वेड हो चुके हैं, इंडिया इज द मोस्ट इन्वेडेड कंट्री। हर कोई फॉरेन रूलर आता है और हमको अटैक करता है, हम इंडियंस को रूल करता है। तो वी आर द मैक्सिमम इन्वेडेड पीपल। ओके
Ma'am, this is
यस
my request you kindly use more English, ma'am. It's not a Hindi class.
ओके फाइन फाइन एब्सोल्युटली फाइन, आई यूज दिस लैंग्वेज ड्यूरिंग माय
Don't
क्लासेस
take it otherwise, ma'am.
सॉरी
Don't take it otherwise. But it's a better for the students. Try to use more English.
fine, it's absolutely fine, no
Okay.
problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so where was I? Yes, so we Indians are the most invaded people. From from time to time we have been invaded. People or rulers you must have seen in history of India that they are coming from different places and they are invading us, and we are being ruled. Okay, so when British rule came, there was a different kind of treatment by them that we saw. All right. So gradually we understood, and this is why 19th century is important, that we were trying to understand. मतलब 1800s में जब initially British people came to India, we slowly understood that these people who are invading us, who are ruling us, they are different kind of people, because they are trying to treat us like slaves. Okay, and this has not happened earlier with other invaders. We are being treated as slaves, and we are being beaten up for certain work which we are not able to do. They are, grabbing our lifestyle and everything. So this was the understanding that started, that initiated during 1800s, means during 19th century. Okay, so in this way you can see that 19th century initiated this social struggle. And social struggle here exactly means that mm, uh, 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 social struggle here basically mean that throughout the country this idea spread that we have to stand and speak something against the rule which is it is dominating us. This British rule, imperial rule, is dominating us, and that is why a kind of hegemony was developed in our country. We all of us together, we started transforming our attitudes, and we started understanding what is British rule in India. So that was happening initially in 19th century, and here in your syllabus you will see that the main area that you will be dealing with is language. Okay, you, though we will be a bit going away to the domination, the British rule, the British influence, but basically we'll be talking about the language and the language influence. So you saw that in 19th century, when we talk about English language, we saw that totally an alien language has landed in India. This language is not simple. Okay, and you see that it is a one-sided use, means only British are using, we don't know English. Okay, so they are using it, and that is one-sided. And sometimes translators are coming, they are translating for us, and they are again getting back to them. So this whole system of knowledge, okay, and constructing a new knowledge basing on the English language, it became a new activity in our country. Okay, and this understanding and reciprocating in English became one of the key factors that we need to learn during 19th century, because a new language has come. Okay, and the British government is imposing that language upon us, British rule. So we Indians were also, we were not negative at that time, we were not resisting, we were also trying to understand what is this alien language. We were learning. Okay, we are good learners, so we were learning how to interact, how to take a new language in our country. And it's an age old country and new language has come, but we were very very optimistic about that during 19th century. Okay, so when we talk about language, we have to go to literature, because English literature, particularly, you can notice that it gradually was increasingly used by writers and thinkers in India. Indians, they learned language mainly from literature. Okay. And mainly who learned? Normal people did not learn at that time. Common people did not learn, but the people who were literary people, those who were writers, those who were thinkers in India, they, they started reading English literature. They tried to understand not only literature but English culture also through their literature. Okay. So when these people, when these thinkers, when these writers, they deeply read these Western works, they try to understand their culture. And also, it is very, proud for us to know that these thinkers, these learner, these, literary people in India, they mastered over language also. English language, when they started reading, when they started understanding their linguistic forms, when they started to understand their culture through their writing, in this process of learning English, they became master over that new language. Okay. And this knowing their language also made them understand the mode of the struggle that they need in order to free themselves from British power. Okay, they understand that how, what kind of struggle they'll have to do in order to free themselves from British, because you can know that during 19th century, um, East India Company was the strongest. It was very powerful, and it was said that they had, made this proverb very famous, that sun never sets in British Empire. Okay, so see how prejudiced is this language. Sun never sets in British Empire means that they have captured so many countries that sun never sets for British people. It means that suppose it is evening in London, so it is maybe morning, a little late morning in India. So maybe it is evening in Africa. So they have captured so many countries that sun never sets for them. Okay, so the whole day goes on and on for them. So they were such prejudiced at that time because they were capturing many parts of the continent, of the whole of the whole earth. Okay. So our Indian people understood this by reading their literature. They understood that they need to learn, they need to understand a little bit more of their cultural ethos, so that they can, face them, they can deal with them, and they can treat them accordingly. So it is at that time they started to question certain things. They started to experiment this alien tongue. Okay. And experimenting here means they started reading those authors who were British authors who were had a completely fluent English writing of novels. They understood the seriousness that the British writing involved. Okay. And how they, in their literature, how they face reality also. This was learned by the Indian visionaries, by Indian thinkers, and by Indian literary people also. See, I'm repeating this for you once again. British people came to India, along with their new language came a kind of what they called the superior, the white collar class language, the superior language. All right. Um, Now, these literary people, they got intrigued. Now, these people of literature, thinkers, philosophers, those who were really serious about India and Indian culture and how new culture is getting absorbed in our culture, those who were very serious about this, and even revolutionaries also, they started reading English literature. Okay. Because I think that we cannot deny the fact that British literature is one of the most earliest developed literatures. So these people, Indian people, they started reading the literature, not only to learn the language, but also, please take this very carefully. You will have to use this in your answers also. That's why I'm repeating this for you. They read their books, they read their literature not only to know their language, but also to know the culture. Because you are PG students already, you must be knowing that in order to learn somebody's culture, literature is one of the most important handbooks. Okay, so they try to learn the culture through the English literary books. Then they try to understand that British mind. Okay, which was completely opposite to the Indian mind. Indian people were what? Indian people were really enlightened people. They were non-materialistic people. Okay, they preferred more to pray, and they preferred harmony and non-violence. Whereas when they read British literature, they understood what kind of people were British. They were really smart, no doubt, very smart, very elite. Okay, very much culturally, so to say, that very much culturally different than ours. I cannot say that culturally superior, that will be wrong to say that, but how culturally they were different from us, how they were so much materialistic than us. So these things, these certain special aspects was understood by Indian thinkers. So just see, though we are dealing with language, but there are so many uh, you know uh, different other components that these revolutionaries learned through literature, and these components are about their culture, about their lifestyle, about who they are. So gradually these Indian thinkers, they understood who really these British are. Okay, so this knowledge through literature, this helped them to to expand their mental horizons about British. They understood the ideology that was involved in the British cause of coming to India and invading India, and trying to make India their slaves. This was gradually understood by the Indian visionaries. Okay, so this was the
Excuse me,
time.
ma'am.
Yes, tell me. Yes,
Yes,
Shweta.
ma'am. Ma'am, I was asking, so, ma'am, you are giving a historical overview to that entry of English, how it happened in India.
Yes.
This is the whole topic, so we have not moved to the unit two, so because I
Sorry,
am getting
I cannot understand. Sorry.
sorry. Ma'am, actually, in our book, it is like block one. Block one is basically about industrialization of English studies in India, in which
Yes.
the first unit is entry of English, a historical overview.
Yes.
Overview. And
Yes.
then after that, it is about like Raja Ramohun Rai, Macaulay,
Yes. Yeah.
and Guy. So
Yes.
that's what I'm asking because like at a time I'm getting and I'm very new to this course. That's why I'm asking. You are
Yes.
in the historical overview part too.
Yes. 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 Yes, Shweta. I mean historical overview. And I'm telling this in quite detail because you need to
Yes.
understand this. This is the
No,
most
no
complicated.
problem. Yes, 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 ma'am. That's right.
Okay.
I just got confused. Like, is it like that or something else is going on? I'm
No,
missing on something. That's right.
no, Shweta, you're absolutely on the track. This is the historical view, and mainly, Shweta, I'm in the 19th century.
Yes,
How
yes, ma'am.
how we took India initially? Sorry, how we took English initially? That is what I'm trying to say, and
Okay.
uh, and I think you all have understood. I'm very broadly telling you this, that
Yes, ma'am.
see, the general mass, they were unaware. Okay, general mass of India at that time. Okay, these British people have come. I mean, labor class people, poor people, they are not so much active in this. Now, in this 19th century, who are active? That you have to mark. General public is not yet active now. We are dormant. Who is active now? Mean the political
Basically,
class
that
people, the
yes, yes, like
thinkers. Okay,
Malcolm. Yes.
be very clear with this, all of you. Okay, this will help you to get a broader, a better idea how English was developed, and how revolution also. See, development of English and revolution in India are going side by side. Just because we understood them through their language, how we read their language, we knew their language through their literature. So just because when we read their literature, not only did we read their language, but also we read their culture, we understood them. Okay, and then this understanding helped us raise a revolt in 20th century. Did you get my point, Shweta?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Others,
ma'am.
did you
Yes,
get
ma'am.
what I'm trying to say? Other students,
Yes,
is it clear?
ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Fine. So that's why I can go ahead, and it's very good that you understood. So this is how our revolt started. So just see, our literature is no less, our subject is no less, because our subject also became one of the mediums of understanding and then gradually of the revolt. Okay, so unless we understand the language, how can we revolt? Okay, so this is how we initiated our understanding about them. Okay, and then we saw, as I was telling you when I started, that how in post independence India you see a sudden growth of English. Okay, and now post colonial India was a response. Okay, it was a period of response to alien tongue. In post colonial period we were responding. We have not responded till colonial rule. Till 1947, we could not respond. We were just observing their language. We were grasping their language. When did we hit back? Post colonial India. When our books started getting published in India, our English literary books started getting published, and it got sold in the market like hotcakes. Okay, even those British from whom we learned that language, they also bought our books. Just see, just try to feel not only the rise of the language, but also feel how we did it. Okay, how we started colonizing the market of literature. Okay, how we started dominating the market. So many Indian writers nowadays are revered, they are respected to the highest peak. Okay, so you can see the great success that Tagore brought us through the Nobel Prize winning, though that was during colonial period. Um, but see, that is also how we succeeded in mastering over their language. Okay, but we formed our own Indian English, not theirs. Okay, now we will see how power, what kind of power play did we have in this kind of whole development of English language? How power rules, how power impacts the development of English language. Okay, now you see, we will talk about how power, how politics got entangled with the development of English language. If you see, uh, if you go to 19th century, then it was and it's there in your study material also. I was having a look that during 1830s English language, okay, English made its presence felt in India. Okay, because this was the time when British were showing up their language. They were they were trying to boast that their language is superior than any other language in the world. Okay, so in 1830s also, you must remember, this is one of the most important periods of the development of English languages in India, because in 1835 Macaulay published Minute of 1835. That was the education policy then. Okay, so this was the landmark. Please mark it, note it, or underline it, or whatever you can do, you have to do, because this was the birth, the initial starting of English language in India by the publication of Minute of 1835 by Macaulay. Okay, so Macaulay's Minute we are going to discuss quite a lot. Okay, because Macaulay's Minute of 1835, it gave a proper initiative start or a boost to Indian language, English in India. Okay, but if you read Macaulay's Minute, you will find he's too biased about English language, and he is putting Indian languages behind. Okay, he's saying no, English is the superior language, and all other Indian languages should be kept behind, and English should be the dominant language. This was what was the basic idea, the summary of Minute of 1835. Okay, so see here power politics is involved. In your text, I was reading how he talks about English and he puts back other languages. You can just hear, I'm saying, try to hear. See what he writes in his minute. I quote him. He says, I have no knowledge of either Sanskrit or Arabic. Who is saying this? Macaulay in his minute of 1835. He's saying, I have no knowledge of either Sanskrit or Arabic, but I have done what I could to form a correct estimate of their value. I have read translations of the most celebrated Arabic and Sanskrit works. I have conversed both here and at home with men distinguished by their proficiency in Eastern tongues. I am quite ready to take the Oriental learning at the valuation of the Orientalists themselves. Orientals means the Eastern people. I have never found one among them who could deny that a single shelf, remember this, if possible, just learn it. Okay, you need to be very well versed with this Macaulay's 1835 when you are writing about the development of English in India. See how biased he is. You can quote it in your answers during your exams, or maybe in your assignments also. What he says, I have never found one among them who could deny that a single shelf of a European library was worth the whole native literature of Indian Arabia. Could you understand what he is trying to say?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
He is just trying to say that I have gone through all that, and nobody is there to tell that, or nobody is denying the fact that our
Yes.
India and Arabia's literature will get a place in their European library. They don't have that worth key that can be placed in a European library.
Very, very good, Shweta. Any other answer? See, can you understand how biased he is? What a
Yes, yes.
one-sided
From
fellow.
that, it's like literally seen in his language.
Yes. Anyone else? Any other understanding have you have developed? This is a very important paragraph.
Yes,
Anyone?
ma'am. In my
Yes, ma'am.
opinion, he was
Yes,
saying
ma'am.
he was
I
saying
see.
that
Yes, yes, Shivani, tell me.
yes, ma'am. And he was saying that no regional language is having any power, any superiority, uh, along with along with
Yes, yes, yes. British
along
language,
with
English
different
language, right?
countries. Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. So here what he is saying is too biased. He is saying that I do not know Sanskrit language, I don't know Arabic, but as if he doesn't care. Okay. Now remember Sanskrit and Arabic were the two most important languages of the eastern continents and mainly of Indian subcontinent. So he is saying that I don't know them, but see how he is biased. But I have done correct estimate. I have studied through translation. I have interacted with Eastern scholars. I have talked to them. And after talking to them, after reading some of the translations, I have come to know that their whole native literature is not as worthy as our one shelf in our library. Okay, means our literature is very substantial. Our literature is very up to the mark, standard, whatever you may call. Okay, but theirs is not. Okay, so don't you feel that this is a kind of imposition they are imposing? They are forcing it here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. Yes,
yes, that
ma'am.
is
Clearly
imposing.
seen.
See, they had all those, they were very materialistic people. They are very materialistic people. Okay, they have a proper record of their writings and publications. Okay, we do not disagree that they are very systematic. But that doesn't mean that our literature is poor. Is it poor? If you look at Vedas, if you look
No,
at
no,
Shas-
no. That is like
No, ma'am.
one of the
okay,
most ancient.
if you look at Upanishads, okay. So what do you feel? That these literatures are quite ancient and very rich. Okay. The richness is now felt by them. Now they are understanding the worth, the value of those scriptures and books. Okay.
And also they are following them, ma'am.
Yes, exactly. They're following them yoga. Many
Yes.
Now, nowadays, ma'am, also they are following ancient Vedic education in our science and technology.
yes, absolutely. And even do you know that Atharva Veda was one of the oldest books to talk about climate change, to talk about preservation of nature. Atharva Veda. Okay, now these people are jumping and crying like climate change, but Atharva Veda first stated that whatever you take from nature, you have to give it back. Otherwise, you have to face consequences. So these things
Mm.
were initiated by here by the great Sanskrit texts and to a large extent to many great Arabic texts also. Okay, but just look at the point of view of that time of Macaulay, what he says. Okay, so um, we uh, we have taken this very seriously. What Macaulay has said, Macaulay's comment, his argument about our Indian text, and now we are trying to prove that. Uh, he is not correct in his estimate. He says that I have estimated everything, I have done everything, but now we are seeing that no, this thing has to be prolifically revised. And now, if you see this NEP 2020 is coming, it is completely changing this kind of education policy. Okay, so NEP 2020 has brought many new changes, many welcoming changes that will be witnessing, we all will be witnessing in couple of years. And that is going to change completely the face of our education system. And see what they did. Macaulay, I'll tell you also while teaching more, he said that Indian should be taught that much of English so that they understand and they remain only as workers under us. That's all. That much only they can understand, through which they can interact. Okay, not more than that. So here you can see that Macaulay here, he is making a comment on our Oriental learning. Okay, but if you take this statement little bit positively, little bit optimistically, he's talking about our learning. He's not talking about our creativity. He is not talking about our different other talents. Okay, he's talking about that learning only. It's very confined to learning. But anyway, in at this time we consider it very prejudiced of whatever he has said. uh, So overall, if you read Macaulay's minute, you will find that he has got a kind of colonialist bias. Okay, you can see this very properly. Okay, now what are we going to do? We are going to move little bit ahead of this, and we are going to divide now our discussion into 4 parts. Okay, we are discussing about English in India, and this is also very important. On the thing that is very very much important for you, we are discussing that over here, and which you need to write in your answers also, that I'm telling you. So we will now divide this whole English learning in India into 4 parts. Okay, how English was introduced in India, how it gained its strength in our country. We are all going to speak about this. Okay, so first part, within these 4 parts, the first part was when we were forming policy. Okay, we were in that first phase when we were trying to form a policy in order to bring that foreign language to our day to day life, to our workforce. Okay, how English will get involved in our workforce, how middle class will absorb it. Okay, and and how we are going to spread the the knowledge that our culture is superior through English language. How we did it, that is what we are going to see in the first phase. In the second phase, you will see that how English started to make a mark um, in our lives. Means in the first phase, how English will get absorbed. In the second phase, we will learn that how English gradually got absorbed, how it was absorbing the whole process, and how it changed our ideas, how it changed our value systems, how it made to rethink about our existence. That was brought up by English language and the learning of that. Third phase, you see that you will see third phase where we are no more accepting English language, whereas we are rejecting English language. Why? As I told you, initially, that when nationalistic feeling was rising high within us, then we have, at that time we have completely understood English language, we have absorbed it, but now we are retaliating. Okay, because in 1947, in different methods, in different ways, during that time, during the phase of 1947 revolt, we were, towards getting freedom, but also at that time simultaneously we were rejecting so many things. So this was the time when we were a bit pessimistic about English language. And the fourth phase came after India's independence. Okay, after India's independence. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So fourth phase was post-independence. This also I have told you. Post-independence, again you see a rise, high rise. So see, four phases, I'm telling you. First phase, when we were trying to understand what is English. Second phase, when when English was absorbing in all the classes of our Indian society, from high class to middle class. Third phase was during the phase of independence, 1947. At that time, we were rejecting. See, one phase we understood, another phase we absorbed, third phase we rejected. Fourth phase, again we accepted. We brought new trends in the English writing system, and we wrote it. We understood English language so well that now we were gaining materialistically by learning the language. By writing in their language, we now started earning money by writing English novels, by writing books in English, by writing theories in English. Not only you can see literature, but you can see other fields also. Economics, they started writing in English, helped us get Nobel Prize in economics, in various other fields of sciences, of social sciences. Now we started writing, we started mastering, and we started responding. Okay, and now they started reading us. Got it? So these are the four phases which we are going to deal with elaborately. Now everything is there in your book, okay, in your material. You just now sit back and listen. After the class, you can just have a look. You will see everything what I'm telling you is there. So the first phase, and it's a very well written material, very broadly it has been explained in quite easy language, and it will be easy for you to understand. Okay. Now, yes, where I was. Now we are talking about the first phase. Okay, first phase was from 1800 to 1857. So according to your material, I'm teaching you, and so that you understand it very clearly when you go through your book. Now we are talking about the first phase. The first phase is from 1800 to 1857. Okay, means the beginning of the starting of 19th century, when Indian economy was slowly getting down, and British interest was rising at that time. Okay, more and more British administrators were getting inside India. Okay, under the name of East India Company. That was the name of the company of their administration, East India Company. So under the name of East India Company, during that time, slowly administrators were getting into the period. Okay, and at this time we Indians, we were very divided at that time. There were a feudal system, there was landlord, and all those systems were going on, that feudal system. Then we had a very strict caste system, uh, caste divide was there. So we were divided like anything during that time. Okay, and there was no reason to unify us. We were so scattered at that time. Okay, in the name of caste and in the name of feudal system, in the name of class also to some extent, and we couldn't find any unifying thing at that time. Okay, now now what happened? Slowly when we they got inside, and slowly we understood that no, that is no business that they are doing. Now they are trying to capture us. Slowly we understood during that phase only. Okay, but we were weak at that time. We were politically weak. Okay, we were a completely, as I told you, divided society. We were completely unequal. There was nothing equal about us. Our languages were different, our culture was different, our ethnicities were different. Okay, then we had lots of caste discrimination, so many things were there. Okay, so we also got nothing to stand against British, because when we ourselves are divided, how could we unite to stand against British? So we were very weak at that time. Okay, and when British came, they tried to show themselves, or they were actually they showed that they are very rich economy. Okay, and they are now superpower. Remember, there's this superpower word will go very soon after World War II. Okay, but now they claim that they were superpower. Okay, the most powerful country in the world. Okay, and they are the ones who said that they are going around the whole globe to civilize people. It is the white man's responsibility, they say. It is the white man's burden to civilize the whole world. So under the name of civilizing the whole world, they dominated the whole world. They made the whole places that they conquered, that they invaded, they just made everyone their slaves. Okay, so uh, now what happened? But Indians had nothing to respond, because they were fighting among themselves in the name of class, caste, and all these things. They were fighting among themselves. They had nothing to do. If you want to rule, you rule. Okay, so they were so subservient during this first phase. Okay, and if you read British literature, then this period was romantic period in the in Britain. This period, 1800 to 1857, when there was a high rise of romantic period, and at this time only William Blake, Wordsworth, Coleridge, Byron, Shelley, Keats, they were they were writing, and they were what they were doing, they were attacking this imperial power. Okay, because at this time you see that in Britain, industrial revolution has developed. Okay, very quality materials are getting inside the country, from India, from Africa, and English industries are developing. But these poets, Blake, Wordsworth, Coleridge, they were very critical about such kind of development. You are you are uh, you know you are torturing other countries, you are exploiting other countries, you are bringing good by looting them, and then you are telling yourself prosperous. So this was highly criticized by these romantic poets. Those who rejected the industrial towns of England, they went to the rural England and they attacked the British government. They were very critical about this. Okay, because they preferred simple living to be the richest form of living. Those romantics, you must have read this already in romantic literature, romantic period. Okay, so they were very critical about what British imperial power was doing, what it was doing all over the world. Okay, they were very cynical, and they prefer to go back to that medieval and simple period, rather than to exist in this period full of crime that British administration was doing. Okay, these people were very cynical about this. Okay, now leave England now, and the romantic age, romantic period, leave that, come to India at this time. Okay. Now what happened? Now British thought, they came here, they said that no, in order to spread our colony, we need to, you know, we need to make English functional. Okay, means English language has got a great role to play, because if people will understand English, they will interact, so our development will be better. So English should be taught to them, so that only they could interact, nothing else. Okay, this was the initial plan, that they have to learn how to interact, so that we will be able to interact and we will be able to get more profit. This was the idea of the British during that time. So that is why Macaulay was given the task, okay, to come to India in 1835 to make a policy for us, for we Indians. Okay, uh, all right, and to, you know, to functionalize English in India. That was the task given to Macaulay. Now, what was happening at that time in India under the increasing British control? We see that early 19th century, they tried to make some policy. I'm talking about Indians. I'm not talking about Macaulay. Under British control, as I told you, there were many visionaries at that time. There were thinkers at that time. Okay, they tried to implement some policy for Indians. Okay, these were the very few class of people who understood what will happen to the future of India if British continue ruling. So they tried to initiate what they called it social engineering. They started social engineering. They tried to do something, okay, so that people will get aware that slowly British people will are getting empowered and they will be a dominant force for us. So these people understood and they wanted to implement some social engineering. Okay, so so what to do now? How to make this social engineering? So, in order to understand those people, we need to understand the language so that we can interact. So, many thinkers in India, they started to read, they started to write, they started to think in English. Okay, first you understand them, first you understand their language, and then you can do some kind of social engineering in India. Okay, so here social engineering was actually at that time very much attached to the British. Okay, it was very much close to the British. Means they were the natives of India, native people of India, those who lived in India. The battles of the British means these Indians. See, this is not revolt. They started to understand English, not as a to fight battles against British, but to fight the battles of the British. Okay, means they read English, they understood English, and they tried to do some social engineering for the Indians, but not against British. Try to understand this, students. Try to understand this. These thinkers initially they learned. Okay, this was not protest. This was to make people aware about how degraded we Indians were at that time, how unequal we were at that time. Okay, so these people, through British literature, they understood what kind of civilization is needed. Okay, to have a hegemonic society, to come away from orthodoxy. See, at that time, sati system was going on. Okay, at that time, many kind of superstitious rituals were going on, like witchcrafts, black magic. Okay, so all these things were very much orthodox and, you know, out of time. So these Indians, when they read British literature, they understood that yes, we need to civilize. Okay, yes, we are uncivilized. We are uncivilized because we are unequal. We are fighting in the name of class, caste, feudal system. Okay, so we need to think equally. So, in order to think equally, these readers, those who read in English, they started to spread the idea among Indians that you have to come out of these orthodox and traditional systems. Okay. Could you understand this? Have you understood, or should I repeat?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good, very
Yeah,
good.
social. It is related to our social religious reform movement, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay, so they actually sensitized the Indian of that time against orthodoxy, against that old system in which we were dwelling in, and how their eyes opened only when they read British literature. Okay, so they were very much attached to the British system at that time, and they were, they were grateful also that they are learning new things from their literature. Okay, that could bring a hegemony to, sorry, that could bring a kind of harmony or equality to the country, to the so vastly divided country. Okay, because at that time, Indian society was completely demoralized. Okay, because silently we were sitting and watching their superiority. They are kicking us from our benches in the park. They are asking us to sit down where when they sat on the benches. They are throwing us out of our trains. Though they build the train, but it's our country. So we were just silently watching at the whole spectacle that Western people are superior and we are inferior. Okay, so we were silently speaking, but the sensitizing work was started by these thinkers and philosophers. Okay, so this was the time. Also, please remember, and if possible, write it in your answer. This is the time when Eastern and Western ethos came face to face. They confronted each other, Eastern and Western. They faced each other. Okay. At that time, India had a very liberal education system, but that was to some extent we can give thanks to Macaulay also because he systematized our education system. Our education was very liberal at that time. Okay, and that became a little systematic, or not little, but to a large extent, it became systematic by Macaulay. Okay, so at that time, we cannot avoid the fact that English was only the language of elites and middle class also. Okay, but though elite and middle class read widely English, but they spread this message to the whole country. Okay, for to bring equality, so that Indians could also develop. Now, after this, we come to the second phase. The second phase is from 1857 to 1880. Okay, 1857 to 1880. Now, this phase is important because we had a mutiny at this time in 1857. Okay, and it's a point mutiny, and this was the initial mutiny that started. See, quickly we understood it that they are ruling us, they are torturing us. Okay, they are being violent to us, they are abusing us. So this was the mutiny that started from 1857. So it was known as mutiny because why it is mutiny? Because British said that it is illegal and unethical. Okay, you are
Yes,
revolting
ma'am.
against us. You are killing us. Okay, so you are doing illegal act. So illegal means they named it as
ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କକୁ
mutiny.
ପଢିବାକୁ କଣ ଭଲ ଲାଗେ ମୁଁ ଜାଣିପାରିନି।
Shweta,
କଣ
just
ପଢିଦଉ।
mute your phone. We can hear a lot of background sound. Okay, so that is why they prefer to
So
call it
sorry,
as
ma'am. I'm so sorry.
mutiny. Shweta,
I'm so sorry, ma'am. I actually said sorry, ma'am.
okay, okay. So that is why they termed it as mutiny. This is also important if you get some kind of IQ questions. Why did they call it mutiny? Because they considered it illegal and unethical. So they named it as mutiny. That you are, we are ruling you. We are trying to teach you what is culture and civilization, and you are killing us. So they said this is illegal, and they named it as mutiny. Okay, Sepoy mutiny. But if you take it from our point of view, this mutiny was a symbol that we are not happy with them. Okay, we are angry against their power. Okay, though we are feeling helpless, you are very powerful, we are completely powerless, but still We are not happy with what you are doing in our country. So this was the message that came out from Sepoy Mutiny. Okay, and this time a kind of the a kind of dislike and revolt started in India. Okay, from Sepoy Mutiny. Okay, so yes, so this was how we started the revolt. Revolt started from here, from the second phase. Okay, now from 1857 onwards, British they changed their style. Okay, they now understood that Indian people are getting restless. Okay, now they are revolting, so they changed their style. They adopted different style to administer us. Okay, so at that time, India was directly under English monarchy. Okay, at that time. So when it is directly under British monarchy means it is a colony. Okay, that was called colony. So ours was colony. Africa was a colony because at that time we were directly under English monarch. So our society here now changed to a new form. Okay, now they changed their form after that Sepoy mutiny. It did not remain anymore under direct monarch. Okay. Now the whole system of their politics changed. Okay, maybe they send more administrators to rule us. Okay, so that directly administrators or those officers will be dealing with us. Means we were now completely under strict vigilance. Okay, now from now onwards we were treated with suspicion, with doubt. Okay, who are we? All the British officers who came, they looked at us with doubt, that who are these people? Are they middle class, or are they city dweller but poor people? Okay, are they zamindars? Who are they? They tried to identify us. Okay, uh, and those class which were mainly involved in the mutiny, they tried to be very violent towards them. Okay, so at that time, middle class was usually very violent during that time. So middle class came under the direct attack. Now at this time, there were reformist acts also. Okay, uh, reformist acts was taken, and many Indians also who started this reformist movement acts. British. Okay, British tried to reform us. They tried to release many reformist acts also by them. But gradually, we Indians got inspired by those reformist acts. Okay, and those reform means changes. Many changes acts how India should change. Many Indians got inspired by those British acts that they were releasing, especially when Indians understood that yes, certain reform was needed in India in order to counter the counter British, in order to develop the nation. So visionaries and philosophers like Ram Mohan Roy, he was a very active reformist. He spoke a lot against our orthodoxy, our old method of social system. He directly wrote, and he spoke to people that this orthodox system should change. This old system is bringing inequality, and we have to become equal now. So Ram Mohan Roy was one of the initiators who who attacked our old and orthodox systems, and he was one of those visionaries who tried to transform the whole environment. Okay, so that the next step that came was revolt, violence. Okay, if you are being violent, we will also become violent. So this happened, started mainly through the thinkers like Ram Mohan Roy. He said that old things you have to bring an end to that. New time has come. So we need to react accordingly. So for that we need to stop those orthodox rituals that we were practicing till today. Okay, that's a sheer crime if you think about those things now. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy also thought about bringing some reformation in education. Okay, and he also encouraged people to think about modernity. Okay, this was one of the most important philosophies that Ram Mohan Roy brought when he spoke about modernity. India was never modern. We were so orthodox. We were so behind. Okay, but people like Ram Mohan Roy, they asked that no, we should also adopt modernity just like our British counterpart. Okay, now when we talk about literature, now during this time, many thinkers, many philosophers, many people, those who are interested in literature, they have read literature very well by now. So now the second phase, we Indians started writing. Okay, remember this. This is very important. So this is a time when literature, British literature was absorbed by us, and now we started trying our hands in English literature. Okay, so now we got an increasing knowledge of English. Okay, India had lots of creative minds. Okay, and Indian creative minds took many British writers as their role models. Okay, and they tried to write like them. Please mark it, though they started using their hands in writing English literature, but they considered many English writers as their role models and they wanted to write like them. Mark my words. They wanted to write like them. Okay, means newness won't be there. They were fond of imitating them. Okay, understood. So this was the second phase when in literature also now we started trying our hands, and you will see we are going to read very elaborately. Some of you were discussing also about Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, his novel Ram Mohan's Wife. This was the first English novel. Okay, this was the first novel written in English by an Indian. Okay, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee has written Rajmohan's Wife. Okay, so here you will see that it is an English language, but you will see a little bit of Indian folk tale kind of thing you will find. We are going to read that in our coming classes. Okay, we are going to read that. So you will see that when you read Ram Mohan's wife, you will see that those characters that Bankim Chandra is trying to show, they are Indian. Okay, they're typically Indian and they have their own Indian sides. Okay, but if you see when Bankim Chandra is talking about nature, okay, or the little bit natural aspects uh, in our close to us, then you will see that he's little bit imitating English writing style. Characters are English, but the natural aspects that he's representing, or you can say that the nature of writing also is English. Okay, just hold on for 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. So please mark this, that though we have started writing in English, but we are imitating and we are considering those English people only as our inspiration. So there is a lot of English in Rajmohan's life or wife. English, by English I mean British. Okay. Okay. So uh, now you see that, but overall you will see that this is how we are, this is the way now we are facing with the European counterpart, by little bit of Indian, by little bit of imitation from them, though we are imitating now, but we have started English literature. Okay, understand. Now this is the second phase, when we have already started with our writing. Now we come to phase 3, that is from 1880 to 1947. Okay, 1997, you can see this is the third phase of the evolution of English in India. And here you can see that the third phase is a very difficult phase because this is still independence. Okay, means you will see lot of revolt, lot of bloodshed, lot of violence. Okay, lot of challenges. All right. So you can see that in India at that time we had diverse interest at that time. Our society, already saw that it was so diverse, but now you see, under the name of Indian national movement, please remember, under the name of Indian national movement, we got together. Okay, we now began to end our struggle against British. Okay, and that happened finally in 1947. Okay, so we are not going to talk about violence or fight or battle or not that. We are coming to our literature, sorry, language. Now, re- you have to remember that we were still a colony. Okay, we had very bitter experiences by the British counterpart. They have treated us very badly. Okay, they at the cost of our resource, at the cost of the erosion of our culture, our identity disturbance, our loss of dignity, we were tolerating a foreign power. Okay, so we are losing everything. Our identity, our dignity, our culture is at stake, everything. Okay. And this change was mainly felt by the middle class, because high class people were mainly under directly British servants, but middle class were the people who were retaliating. Okay. Now, when Macaulay had written his minutes, what he did, he wanted to raise middle class in India. Okay, uh, they felt that middle class will be a superpower for British middle class will be a power, and in that way he had created that education policy. But now we see the reverse is happening in the name of national movement. It was that middle class only who rose, uh, who created awareness. Okay. Now, here you can see, if you talk about the revolution, the revolt, you can see the major revolutionaries at this time were Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru. Okay, they were very educated people. Okay, and actually they were the need of the time. Okay, you can see that now our narrative is changing from Mahatma Gandhi, Nehru to many other people. But as history is also saying, that Gandhi and Nehru, they were the pioneering figures of the time, or their ideology was the need of the time. Okay, but Nehru, to some extent, you can see that they stood for, Mahatma Gandhi also stood for the enlightened sections, okay, of the society, of those conscious people. They stood only for those enlightened and conscious people. Okay, Um, Whereas to some extent they could not impress much to other people, mainly Nehru. Nehru stood only for some conscious, educated people, not for everybody. But gradually, Mahatma Gandhi was able to move all classes of the society. Okay, now both Gandhi and Nehru, they wrote and they spoke also English better than most of the Indians. Okay, they were the elites of India. Though you can see that Gandhi later in his life got very scantily dressed because he was representing his culture also. That is a different thing. But Gandhi and Nehru, both of them were very well versed in English. Okay. Uh, and these two people, Gandhi and Nehru, they gave a lot of stress upon the language of national movement. Okay, they said that although they were very well versed in English, but when they were heading national movement through Congress, they spread the word that for national movement, our language should be Indian. That kind of language that any ordinary Indian can understand and he can speak. Okay, so at that time, what do you think would be the most efficient Indian language? There were many. Okay, many the and many had a root to the medieval life also. Like as we were doing in the beginning, Sanskrit or Arabic. Okay, so there was confusion. What equal language do we need to speak? See, though they were well versed in English, they did not say that you learn English. No, because language was also a form of retaliation. They did not accept English as a uniform language. Okay, so experiments went on. Bankim Chandra said that no, I will revolt by not writing in English, whereas Bankim Chandra earlier wrote Rajmohan's Five in English. Now he said, I will discard English language as a form of revolt. I will write in my native language, Bengali. Okay. Bankim was very proficient in English, we all know, because he had already published an English novel. But now he stopped English and he started writing in Bengali. So this was a form of retaliation or revolt against British by rejecting their language, writing in our language. Okay, Premchand. Munshi Premchand is very famous. Okay, he is also a radical example. Okay, of Indian writers. He was also very well versed in English, but he rejected English language, and Munshi Premchand will always remain in our heart for writing great Hindi short stories. Okay, so his native language was Hindi, so he rejected English language, he accepted Hindi, then he wrote in Persian, he wrote in Urdu as well. Okay, so you cannot say Premchand's mother tongue was Avadhi, Okay, but but he wrote in Persian, he wrote in Urdu, he wrote in Hindi language also. So we all have read no Godan and all Hindi short stories. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So these were some eminent people, those who rejected English language in the form of national movement. Okay. Then there were other writers also like Sri Aurobindo, Mulk Rajanand, Raja Rao, R.K. Narayan. Okay, they belong to the same period. Okay, and they were also very down to earth. All right. Tagore, then Premchand, Sharat Chandra, Sadat Hassan Manto. Okay, they were writers of different level of different languages, and they started now experimenting in their own languages as a mark of revolt. Okay, so now language also took the form in literature, and language also started to revolt against British, and finally 1947, through whatever means you can say, we got independence from British. Now comes the fourth phase, that is 1947 to 2004. Okay. Now this is the fourth stage, as I told you, the post-independent India, and I don't know what it is for you, but for me this phase is very very interesting because we see that we are completely empowered in their language, and in this phase only we have formed our own English, Indian English. Okay, and that came under the name of Indian writing in English. Hmm. So now writing, again, this was the time when British went away, so no more revolt. So once again we took up English. Second phase we saw English was rising. Fourth phase we see a high rise in English language. We accepted it, we wrote it, and we you know once when Macaulay had said that our literature, whole native literature, is not equivalent to their one shelf in the library. Now you see what we are doing. Now we are so empowered, we are writing and they are reading us. They are exploring us. They are making a research on us. Okay. Why? Because now we have got properly equipped in their language. Now, through our language, our culture is spreading. Sorry, through their language, our culture is spreading worldwide, and now they are reading it. They are interested. They feel that yes, this culture is also one of the richest cultures of the world. So, how this message was spread? By the use of English language by our creative minds. Okay, and now you see that after independence, Indian languages became very much in use, and Indian schools and universities, colleges, we prefer English as the medium of our teaching. Just like now you saw that our office people, they said that no, use English. So this is how, this is the best example we can see that gradually English became the medium of instruction in colleges and universities. Media also, you see, media got influenced by a lot of English. And once again you can say that elitism and English became inseparable. If you're speaking English, good fluent English, okay, people will turn back and they will look at you. If you're speaking in your native language, nobody cares. So again, English took up a dominant space in our society. It once again the language started, you cannot say ruling us, because we have already formed our Indian language. Okay, our Indian English we have already formed, and so we are so multilingual that under English language only we are considering our English as as uniform language. Okay, so these were the phases that were involved in the development of English. And as I told you, that it was only in post-colonial times that then globalization also happened in late 20th century. With globalization, our students interacted with many other people around the globe. We started to go abroad to study, to settle, to set up business. Okay, this is what is globalization. So with globalization, our culture spread more, okay, more and more. Because through globalization, we got very well equipped with English language, and also with the help of globalization, our culture also started spreading with the help of English language worldwide. Now, worldwide, our authors are being read, they are being appreciated, okay, and they are being accepted in each and every English shelf. Those English people, okay, they were talking about the British shelves. Now you will see that in a good quality British shelves, Indian books are also tucked in. Okay, so you can consider it as a matter of pride for us, because we took a long journey, but finally we are into it. We have done it, and we are spreading our heritage, our culture, our lifestyle through English. Okay, so today goes my first day. I missed the 2 days, students, because I couldn't know. Days back, I got the schedule and I've completely forgotten. So, and I'll try to make it up with Saturday and Sunday. Timing, what do you say? 4 o'clock is okay?
6 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am. 6 o'clock will be fine. Like
Okay,
this.
Yes,
then.
the same timing.
Okay, fine. 6 o'clock, I'll inform it in your office and they will mail you accordingly. Tomorrow, there's no class. Uh, Now tell me, students, whatever I have explained to you, have you understood? I see this class extremely responsive. You are responding, you are interacting, you are very actively listening. And this Rohit Giri is flying thumbs up time and again. Uh, Okay. Thank you so much, dear learners. You are uh, probably experienced people, must be working everywhere. So thank you for all your appreciation that I'm getting. But tell me, did you face any problem in understanding all these things, or was I clear to make you understand?
Can I say
We
something?
we are overwhelmed, ma'am. Actually, this is the first class where we are able to see the material in coordination with your lecture.
Thank you so much, Mona Lisa.
Yes,
I think
ma'am. Thank you for your, teaching. I understand every bit of it.
thank you so much. I think your name is Promise, so you should keep your
My
promise.
name, my
Yes.
name is Arshi, ma'am. My name is Arshi.
Okay, so it is showing promise, so you have to promise that you'll do well in your exam. Otherwise, you can change your name. Uh, uh,
Okay, ma'am.
okay, you are going to remain this kind of interactive in our coming classes also. And as Mona Lisa told, every time I'll try to be in coordination with your material, because this is only our task to make you understand according to your level and according to your material. I could have explained from
Ma'am,
different other resources, but I did not do.
Thank
Uh,
you, ma'am.
ma'am,
Ma'am,
ma'am, ma'am, actually, I have one concern. Actually, there are 8 blocks all over.
yes.
So, in like 2 books, like volume 1 and volume 2, we have 8 blocks, and under that, it's like so many units are coming. Whoever have taken the classes previously, so they
Hmm.
used to do what in one day only. They used to complete one block.
Yes. Hmm.
For the first time, I get like so much of depth into that. That
Hmm.
no, like other two mentors, like I was MEG 5 and MEG 7, I was attending the classes. I didn't get these details, but the fact is that will we be able to complete within that 8 days, or will you provide us extra classes?
No, 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 no. I'll be able to complete. I went little slow
Okay.
with this because if you see the next of the units, there you can grasp it quickly because they are not that theoretical. Okay, so that we can do it very quickly. There won't be any problem with that, and quickly we'll go over to next. I laid much stress into this because this was the most vital. This is the heart of English
Oh,
writing.
okay, ma'am.
Okay, and
I'm very happy that I'm going through the material, and for the very first time, I'm able to underline whatever you are telling and I can
yes,
mark
that's
something
really
in
thank
my
you.
book.
I really
Yes,
want
ma'am.
to
Exactly the same thing happened with me because
Yeah.
I don't have any knowledge about English language as I am a science background student. So today only I came to know about the material in details and gone through it. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mona Lisa. Yeah, that's what I was
ma'am,
saying, that this needed to be explained very broadly. Otherwise, Ram Mohan's wife and all these things, no, you people are so mature that you will understand it quickly. Okay, I don't need to teach you like school teachers. You will understand it very fast. Okay, I went slow with this. I hope now you have understood why. And these things again will I'll be
Yes,
repeating
ma'am.
on and on. Yes, these things practically you will see in different units, they are there, same things are repeated, but this is the core idea.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
ma'am, when will be class tomorrow?
tomorrow I think
Tomorrow I will be in my class.
it's in your schedule. I think same 6 o'clock, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is holiday.
Because
Day
tomorrow is a
after
holiday.
tomorrow. Day after
Okay,
tomorrow.
after the day 6 p.m.
Let me check your schedule. You
Yes,
have
ma'am. 6 only.
yes, you
Six
have
to eight.
okay. So we'll meet next class, day after tomorrow. All right, and whatever I have missed, I'll cover it. So
Okay,
you may
ma'am.
Yes,
leave.
ma'am.
You may leave.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You really like explained all the things very clear. It's just like all the things are in my mind after
Uh,
listening you.
Thank you so much, Shivani.
Should we leave for the day?
Arsi, this is the first class for MEG-10, na?
Yeah.
Arsi?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Today is first class.
Yeah. N- No one has taken, na, before?
No.
No. This is the first class.
But Arsi, I think we are having our MEG 7 class and 14 on Saturday, 4 to 6 and 6 to 8. Sir normally take the classes on Saturdays, na?
Yeah.
Yes.
So how we will manage?
We have to skip one of the class, I guess.
MEG 14, na? Sir is going to
Yeah.
discuss about Tuglak in next class.
Yeah, I have
And
read
he will ask
Tughlaq.
questions from us only.
Huh. Right.
So Arsi, you will explain Tuglak to us then, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, what I think, if you are appearing for the examinations in June, and right now you are starting the block one, and there are 8 blocks to cover. So I think most of you have already read the whole book. If not, then it's too late right now. I think so because the syllabus is very vast. You have to read our book at least once, ma'am. The same thing I faced the problem in the first year of BA, and the problem was I couldn't complete my whole syllabus in a short period of time, and I just resort to the YouTube videos and the last days of examination. So we can what we can do is I took admission in January only, so my examination will be in December. But as a advice, you can say that you can prepare in the time meanwhile when there is no class, and just you can take the reference from the class because the ma'am told many good things that can be written and make can be the answers can be made so long and beautiful by the words which we can use from the vocab which is given in the classes, or we can say the chapters in our block. So this thing can be applied to it so that you can score good marks, ma'am.
You're right, Rohit.
Rohit, today you came very late.
Ma'am, actually, I went to the ground. Then after that, I came. I didn't know that there was a class today. Then I saw the message, and then everybody was on the call, so I joined.
Okay.
कौन से सर की क्लास है सैटरडे को?
Or we can say to sir that MEG 14 की class बाद में ले लेना. I mean some other day. And
On Sunday we can do that, na?
What time is
You
yeah,
can
we
you
can.
can ask him on the other day. Actually, I am traveling on that particular day. My flight is on 12th, 6 p.m. I am going to somewhere. So 6 to 8 is my flight timing. So I will not be available to in the class at that point of time.
बट MEG 14 की क्लासेस तो बाद में होंगी ना, अभी कौन सा सर की है?
MEG 14 में है ना, तुगलक किस में है? MEG 10 में है।
MEG 14 में है.
मुझे पता भी नहीं है कौन सा क्या है। हाँ, तो
अभी
MEG 14 की भी होगी या 10 की भी होगी, दोनों का एक ही टाइमिंग हो गया 6 का। तो सर को अगर 4 o'clock लेंगे तब सर का MEG 14 हो जाएगा, जिसमें तुगलक का चैप्टर रहेगा। एंड इन दिस क्लास मैम विल टेक एंड कंटिन्यू विद द
MEG
इंग्लिश।
7. MEG 7
सॉरी
लेंगे,
7, हाँ।
उसके बाद 14 लेंगे. और बीच में MEG-10 भी है.
Hey, Chavi, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Hey, according to you, whatever timetable you got, I think MEC 7 class is starting on 5th of May. Check once, because mine was showing that, and these guys are talking that already class is going on. It's a clash.
Shweta, can you write it in the message because your voice is not clear?
Okay, I said ki according to the timetable which I have got, and I think you have also received, that is starting from 2nd of May, that
Yes,
MEG 14
yes, yes,
classes.
yes,
Am I right? No?
yes.
So now that these people are telling ki it's like classes are going on, then some other timetable is there, or what? Is it
I think
like,
they have received it on a WhatsApp from any other RC.
Okay, Chabi, have you posted the schedule anywhere in the chat box?
I have got the schedule from the IGNOU as a text message.
From your study center, sorry, from your regional center, right?
Yes,
Oh, Sweta is also asking, so that's why I asked, have you posted the schedule?
no, no,
no, no.
actually I have the schedule, but
Actually, it
I
is
am
in a
little
PDF format.
confused. Yes, it is in PDF format, and I'm confused that this Rohit and some other were talking about this promise, whoever this girl is, like they were talking about key classes are going on. While in our timetable, it's showing that it will start from 2nd of May.
2nd of May.
Ah,
Yeah, it is
yes,
of
yes.
your regional center. We are receiving classes from Delhi regional center. So that
I
is the
am also
reason.
I am also from
Oh,
Delhi Leisure Center, but I got message from Bhubaneswar RC.
mine one is
Yes,
also
yes.
from Delhi.
I
Because
mean Bharati
RC,
College, Delhi. Bharati College, Delhi.
Okay, so you are an offline student, that's why.
Yeah,
Okay, I am online mode student, that's why I receive another timetable.
yeah, that is probably the reason.
now I'm
I
trying.
of
Chabi,
elections.
today also you are recording the class, or this is only a recorded class? It showing here it is record on recorded mode.
I think it is
Actually, that
recorded by
RC,
the.
no, RC, by the RC only it is being recorded. That you are seeing, no, one classroom two or classroom two, like that one box is coming, no, one particular person is there. They are recording the whole class.
I think ma'am has left, so we can also leave now.
Yes, we should leave. Okay, bye everyone. Bye. Good night.
Bye, Rohit. Bye, Monilisa ma'am.
Bye, bye, Arshi.
Bye bye.